I now want to bring in Congressman Michael McCaul, Republican from Texas and chair of the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Congressman, thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. I really appreciate it.
Well, thanks, Kristen. Thanks for having me.
I want to ask you about this latest intelligence that you've said you received, that Egypt actually warned Israel about a possible attack from Hamas. I want to note that even before you made those comments, Prime Minister Netanyahu's office put out a statement saying that he did not receive any intelligence about any attack from Egypt. So I just want to be very clear. Do you stand by what you said, and what more can you tell us about it?
Well, this was initially reported by the Washington Post, and I personally don't think it rose to Prime Minister Netanyahu's level for many reasons that I probably can't get into. But first and foremost, I think if he was aware of any warning of intelligence value, he would have immediately responded to this threat. But, the fact is Hamas was planning for months, some would say 6 months to a year, on this operation, and yet it went completely undetected. So this is, in some ways, almost like a 9/11 for Israel. And I think the time to analyze why wasn't this found out beforehand, just like we didn't know about the hijackers, that time and place will come. I think right now they have a big job on their hands with Gaza.
And just to follow up very quickly, do you have a sense of how high the warnings went?
I don't. Okay. I think it may have been at lower levels. I don't think it went to the Prime Minister. But I really can't comment on this any further. And I do think, I know Bibi Netanyahu very well, and I know his personality. I know if he was aware of any threat to Israel from Hamas, he would have acted immediately.
Let's talk about what the world is anticipating next. The Israeli government signaling it is preparing for a ground attack. Do you support that course of action? Do you think it is the right course of action, given, of course, that there are still hostages in Gaza?
Well, it's very dangerous. The first step you've seen is taking out command and control within Gaza, and that's what you see with the missile strikes into Gaza. The second phase is a far more dangerous one. That's going house to house, building to building, to free the hostages and to eliminate the Hamas terrorists. We have a lot of good experience at doing that. We had that in Iraq and Fallujah in 2004. Our special operators are over there training the IDF, along with the FBI hostage rescue team. But this is where you're going to see more violence. It's going to get worse, not better. It's not going to be over in days or maybe weeks. It will probably take months for them to clear out the terrorists in self-defense, I would argue, after what they did and just invading with a horrible massacre. I was at the kibbutz near Gaza just last year after 4,500 rockets came in from Gaza, and I remember getting the call that all the individuals there were massacred, including the daycare center where the children were, which is the saddest part of all this.
Yeah, it's absolutely devastating, Congressman. It's hard to even put into words, and as you describe that there, just underscores how close to home it hits for so many people here. I wonder, as you think about this ground offensive, do you think there should be any parameters around it?
I think the strategic objective in my mind is to contain Hamas in Gaza. I know Netanyahu's orders are to eliminate all terrorists in Gaza. And that, from a military standpoint, will be a very difficult operation. And I know that's what they want to achieve. From the United States perspective, we don't want to see this escalate. And you got Hezbollah in Lebanon, 100,000 rockets that can overload the Iron Dome that's already under-depleted now. You've got terrorists in Syria. You got Iran-backed militias, Shia militias in Iraq. And even the Taliban's been talking about trying to get in. So we don't want to see like a global jihad, mecca, if you will, or a movement towards Israel and Jerusalem. I think that's the strategy of the United States, is to contain this in the Gaza Strip.
And how concerned are you about that very idea that this could become a wider war, that we could see Syria and Lebanon become engaged, a three-front war? Very concerned. I mean, you saw today, Hamas is calling for a global jihad. And what you're going to see tomorrow are going to be protests all over the world, perhaps, and we're going to see that in the United States. I worry about the synagogues in the United States and protection of the synagogues here in the U.S. But what we don't want to see is what we saw with ISIS and the Caliphate, where you had fighters from all over the world converge into Syria at that time. We don't want to see a repeat of that in Jerusalem. Let me ask you about the Palestinian civilians living in Gaza. The United States has talked about the goal of helping to secure the safe passage of those currently in Gaza. But how realistic is that, Congressman, given the violence that's unfolding? And how do you make sure you get the civilians out without helping Hamas? It's very difficult, but I think it's important to note that the Palestinians and Hamas are two different things. The Palestinian people, by and large, do not support Hamas. Hamas is a terrorist organization who oppress the Palestinians, and they were the roadblock to peace in the Middle East, with Israel. So as long as you have Hamas there, the Palestinian people will not be free from this oppression. But to your point, how do you vet Palestinians out of Gaza at this dangerous point in time? I don't know how you go on the ground to even evacuate, much less vet them to get outside of Gaza. And it's a humanitarian crisis of extreme proportions. It's very, very sad to see what happened in Israel, but I think what you're going to see in Gaza as well. I want to ask you about some comments by former President Trump, who was critical of Prime Minister Netanyahu, and he called Hezbollah very smart. What was your reaction to hearing that? And are you comfortable with that rhetoric by the GOP frontrunner? Yeah, I'm not pro-Hamas. I'm not pro-Hezbollah. I'm not pro-Iran. I'm pro-Israel. And that has been my party's platform. We've always been pro-Israel. And any enemy of Israel is an enemy of the United States. Do you think that kind of language is disqualifying? I mean, what do you make of former President Trump saying that? Well, I mean, he's going to have to explain that. I'm going to be at the Republican Jewish Coalition convention in Las Vegas in a couple weeks, and I know the presidential candidates will be there, and I think they're all going to have to, basically put forward their comments about their position, where they stand on Israel. Very quickly, before I let you go, obviously, the House is without a Speaker of the House. Congressman Scalise doesn't seem to have the votes yet, at least, to become Speaker. It doesn't seem like there's going to be a vote this week. What is your anticipation? Do you think there will be a vote, and what would you like to see happen? To me, my job is to see threats around the world, and I think the biggest threat I see here is that we don't have a speaker in the chair. We cannot govern, and so our adversaries look at that as weakness. Certainly, Chairman Xi in China says democracy is dysfunctional. And I don't want to prove him right. Putin loves this, right? The Ayatollah really likes this. The more we cannot govern, if we don't have a speaker in the chair, we can't pass my resolution, co-sponsored by 415 members, condemning Hamas and supporting Israel. We also can't pass, which is very important, a supplemental aid package to Israel to replenish the Iron Dome for precision-guided weapons. None of this aid can go in without the Congress being functional and having a speaker in the chair. I told that to my conference this morning, that this is a very dangerous time, and we can't play politics with it right now. Do you think there will be a vote for a new House Speaker by the end of this week? Honestly, Kristen, if I could tell that, I'd probably be a rich man in Vegas. I never thought, Kevin McCarthy would be vacated from the chair, much less what the hour is that we'll have a vote on Speaker. All I know is that the longer this goes on, the more dangerous it is for the United States and the American people. Congressman Michael McCaul, I really appreciate your time and your perspective. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you, Kristen. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.